Has hydrogen had its Hindenburg moment? Hello and welcome to today's Daily Blitz. Now, if you've been watching the energy space recently, you'll know that hydrogen stocks have been soaring in just really since the beginning of this year, but they've had a very sterling run since the beginning of 2019, I would say. Now, I brought on James Allen here, who is our energy specialist here at Southbank Research, to tell us exactly what has been going on and whether or not hydrogen stocks are in a bubble now, or if the bubble is deflating, or if it's really still a buying opportunity. So to start off exactly, so give us a framework for this. What is it that these hydrogen companies have been doing which has made them so attractive for investors?
Well, the landscape for clean energy stocks has just massively changed. I mean, you've got governments really searching for a decarbonisation solution. Hydrogen is seen as, in some ways, the perfect solution. It cuts across various facets of the economy, heating, power, transportation, industry, and hydrogen actually, if prices come down, it can actually decarbonise all segments of the economy, basically. So you see more and more investors realise that governments are rolling out hydrogen strategies. Investors are putting two and two together and thinking this is a great buying opportunity, really.
And it's the fuel cells in particular that are really attracting a lot of this capital, right? So producers of fuel cells.
Yeah, that's right. Fuel cells has big applications in the transportation sector. Transport is really seen as quite a hard segment of the economy to decarbonise. You know, you've seen in the UK, the power sector has actually done a very good job of decarbonisation, certainly in Europe or in the UK. Coal's come off the grid. But we still have this big question marks over decarbonising transports. And fuel cells, alongside battery tech, are really seen as a really good solution, basically. So you've seen some of the big fuel cell manufacturers, US, Europe, they've really had a sterling start to the year. Valuations have soared, basically. So
right.
Lots of people are realising what's going on.
So on your screen, you'll see a company called Ballard, which is really a proxy for the entire hydrogen power space. And that's just Ballard over the last 5 years. As you can see, it's had a parabolic move up recently with a sudden sharp tick down. Now, in terms of as an investor, you know, it all depends on the price that you pay for something, whether or not you get a decent investment return. In terms of valuation-wise, do you think that this is the market's getting too frothy at the moment, or do you think this is something of a buying opportunity?
I think it would be a buying opportunity. I mean, you've seen prices have sort of come down this week. Some of the bigger companies in America, they missed their earnings expectations. So some of that hot money, speculative money, short-term money came out of the market, which might not be a bad thing in some ways. And prices have come down 20-30% in some instances in the US. I think that's a buying opportunity. Perhaps valuations a bit more reasonable than they were maybe 2 weeks ago. But if you look at the long-term forecast for fuel cells, for electrolysis, for just demand for hydrogen in general over the next decade, if you can buy the dips, I'd buy the dips right now.
Right. And interestingly, James actually showed me something before we started filming. I've just been looking at Ballard on a very short-term basis, just looking at that chart that we just showed you. But James pointed out that, in terms of bubble territory, Ballard isn't anything like or anything near the kind of prices it was in the late 90s when there was another hydrogen bubble, right? Or there was a real hydrogen bubble.
Yeah, I mean, back in the 90s, Ballard was probably about 168 on the dollars on the Canadian exchange.
Yes.
Now it's $10 or $11. So we're nowhere near those levels. And if you think actually the narrative has just massively changed since the late 90s.
Yes.
We've got Greta Thunberg, you've got governments, you've got the man on the street really realising that decarbonisation is the biggest challenge that we face at the moment. And I would say it's the biggest opportunity for investors. We're not going to. This is the largest investment in peacetime in the world ever. The decarbonisation solution, in terms of the trillions of dollars that are going into fixing or lowering emissions, and hydrogen is in some ways the perfect fuel source. Exactly right. Yeah. So. If you're talking in terms of bubbles, we ain't seen nothing yet. And but actually, I think this time it is. We are in a real sustained clean energy economy, and so I think we can certainly justify higher valuations than we are now.
Well, there you have it, folks. The Hindenburg may not have just exploded. In fact, it may just be taking off now. That was James Allen here, who is our energy expert here at Southbank Investment Research. Thank you very much for watching today's Daily Blitz, and be sure to tune in to the next one.